Guys, did you know that the ACT recently moved to 100% computer-based testing at international test centers? Well, I'm here to talk about today some of the mishaps that went on with that rollout. Before we get too far into this story though, I want to remind you guys to go to our website, SupertutorTV.com, and sign up for the best ACT prep course if you're studying for the ACT. It's the best way to up your score in the ACT. It's much more affordable than a class or private tutoring, but what's awesome is you're going to get all the private tutoring secrets that I share with all my students in this course. We've helped people improve their score up to 12 points, so go check it out. We also have the best SAT prep course ever coming soon, so keep posted at SupertutorTV.com/subscribe and subscribe to our mailing list to keep in the loop. So let's get started. Basically, as many of you guys know, there's been a lot of recent scandal about test security with the SAT. But what I'm here to tell you guys is those stories are not new. There have been cheating scandals on the ACT and the SAT over the last several years, and most of these cheating scandals have originated in some way or involved in some way international testing centers. So I think both the College Board and ACT.org are faced with a really challenging situation, which is how do we make this test more secure and how do we make it fair, especially when we're trying to ship this test to locations where we're not experts across the globe. So one way that ACT is trying to create a more secure test is by converting all of their international ACT testing centers to computer-based testing centers. And what that means is you can no longer take the ACT on paper in any country but the United States of America. Now, obviously, whenever you roll out a new kind of test, there are going to be glitches. And if you've been on social media, you might notice that it didn't go as smoothly as ACT had probably hoped. Multiple testing centers across the world were closed, and many of the tests that were supposed to be given were not given. Students were basically emailed hours before they were supposed to go in and take their exams and told, hey, listen, we're not going to be able to give you your test, and it hasn't been rescheduled. And I've heard reports from everywhere from South America to Europe. I did have one woman on social media say that in her home country, she believes that the testing centers were closed because the testing centers failed to pass some sort of ACT protocol of some sort. And so it looks like a lot of these testing centers, the closures had to do with that, or at least that's what it seems like has been said on the surface. But that's not all. First of all, for example, one student reported that all of the tests on these computers were started at different times. And so what that resulted in is students having breaks at different times. So what was happening is you're sitting in the room and you're sitting at your computer, like doing your ACT, and then suddenly somebody next to you gets a break, and then somebody else gets a break. And then all these people around you start getting up and going to the bathroom, like en masse, right? And you're still sitting there because you have 5 minutes left, and so you're the most stressed you could be because you're trying to finish that math section. Talk about distracting. Not so cool, right? So I think it's really important that ACT can address this issue. Obviously, it's not a hard issue to address. You just need to all click start at the same time and then wait 60 seconds after everybody's computer says time's up until you release the class for break. Not that hard to fix, but it's something that ACT probably didn't think about. Another problem that I heard students complaining about was the ability to highlight reading passages on screen, but the fact that a lot of students didn't realize that after they highlighted on the screen and moved to the next question, the highlighting disappeared. Obviously, when you read a reading passage and you are doing it on paper, when you highlight, it's forever, right? And you can't necessarily highlight with a highlighter when you're on paper, but you can underline with a pencil. So if you see the thesis or you see the main idea of a paragraph, you can underline it, you can circle it, whatever, and you're not gonna have that ability on the computer. But if students don't know how the highlighting tool works, obviously that can be a challenge. And maybe it's probably best to create the kind of tools that are most similar to the paper experience of the exam so that the exams are as close as possible, right? Yeah, again, I think that's the kind of issue that the ACT could probably solve. Some international students have been reporting on Reddit that their scores that they got back from the ACT are much lower than what they got on the paper test. And these kids are really upset because they think that the issue had to do with moving to the computerized version. And they think that the whole scoring system on this computerized test doesn't seem very fair. I understand that you guys are frustrated. I'm really not surprised. And that's because as a tutor, I know that taking or doing any sort of activity on a computer puts you at a distinct disadvantage. And there's multiple disadvantages, and many of them are just inherent to the computerized testing process. Studies show that when you read on a screen, you might read 20 to 30% slower. Well, guess what? The ACT is a timed test that a lot of people run out of time on. If you're reading 20% slower, oh my goodness, you are much more likely to run out of time. Another thing is, I know from my own experience that copying down math problems from a screen to scratch paper is time consuming and difficult. So in any case, what can you do if you have to take a computerized exam? Well, the best thing you can do is to take the practice version that is on ACT.org. ACT now has a practice test just for international students, which allows you to take the exam in the same type of module that they're going to give you on test day. So I think it's a really important tool that you guys have so that you can try out the system and see how it works. Additionally, I recommend that as you do your prep, start prepping for materials that are on a screen. So if you have a PDF worksheet, put that worksheet on your screen and then write the answers on a separate sheet of paper so that you get used to doing material that's on a screen. If you have thoughts on this matter, or you took the test internationally, or you didn't get to take the test internationally and you have something to say, feel free to share it in the comments. We have a whole community here where everybody can speak out and talk about their experience and share with each other, what's going down. Because I think a lot of this whole testing situation, what we have in terms of power is our ability to share information with each other so that we actually know what's going on and we can all be better prepared for tests to come. I will see you guys next time on Super Tutor TV. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye, guys.